here at JetBlue Park. It is Craig Breslow, Chief Baseball Officer of the Boston Red Sox. Good morning.
Good morning.
Where does this rank on your list of the things you would least like to do today?
Well, there's the bottom of the list.
Okay.
Then a pretty big gap.
Okay.
And then
then it's down below that. Well, we appreciate you joining us here, and we had a lot of great interviews this week, and a lot of talk from the guys that we've been talking to about the vibe here. And the vibe, I think it was Peyton Tolley who said the vibe is high. Are you feeling a different vibe here this season?
Well, I think every year has a little bit different vibe, but it's a good group. It's very business-like, balanced with some strong personalities. I'm sure you've seen that over the course of the week. Tolley maybe at the top of the list, but no, some of the new guys that have come in.
Did you shave USA into your chest hair?
I didn't.
No, okay, you haven't yet.
I didn't.
Okay.
But obviously he did, and that went over very, very well. But some of the new guys that have come in have strong personalities, but they've also blended in, and Sonny and Wilson in a very different way. Ranger, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to talk to him at all.
We haven't, yeah.
But no, it's a really likable group, and it's also one that seems to have come together, and they're just prioritizing the work that we need to do here.
Yeah.
Craig, when you start to look at, because we've had this discussion of like how you want to build your team personnel wise, we're starting to see a lot more athletic guys. Is that something that you are focusing on, especially like with the new baseball in 2026, where you're starting to see, some of these guys, they almost look like football players in the way that they move? Is that something that the Red Sox are kind of honed in on when it comes to personnel?
I think we've seen a bit of a shift throughout the industry where a lot of the rules that have been introduced are prioritizing action, balls in play, and so with that we want athletic defenders, guys that have a bunch of range, can get to balls, really aggressive and athletic base runners take advantage of opportunities to get stolen bases, to advance, and then and also given our ballpark, the number of doubles that get hit there, and also the ability to score from first on extra base hits. So yeah, I think it's an intentional strategy that we're taking here.
I think there are some naysayers out there and people who look at the offseason and go, all right, where's the offense going to come from? And when I say offense, I mean the long ball. Is it an approach from you where you're like, listen, we can win with pitching? Alex Cora was saying he thinks this team can score 2 or 3 runs and win baseball games. Is that kind of a philosophy thing from you?
Common ground on some of those opportunities. We still needed to work backwards from that stated goal of improving the roster. And I think the thing about pitching and defense is it gives us a chance to win every single night, right? You kind of wake up and you show up at the ballpark thinking, whether we've got Garrett or Sonny or Ranger or Brian or whoever ends up in the 5th spot, they're going to keep us in the game, and we're going to take balls that are put in play and we're going to convert them into outs, and that gives us a chance. And I think that's something that the coaching staff and the players really resonate with. So yeah, it's an intentional strategy to lean into the ability to keep runs off the board.
Greg, we've had a lot of people this week discuss how this is your vision, that this offseason is about you, and that you are averse to long, big deals for free agent bats, that, guys like Alonso, the offer wasn't what it was, and that it's not the organizational approach, it's Craig Breslow's approach to not get mired in bad contracts. Is this something that the organization has asked of you, or is this your approach to free agency?
Well, I push back on the notion that this is my vision and not the organization's. I think the organizational position is the same as mine, which is how do we build the best roster we can and give ourselves a chance to compete for the World Series. And there are a bunch of different ways to do that. And this flavor, this brand of baseball that we're going to play, it's a little bit atypical from the traditional Red Sox, slugging, hit the ball out of the park. But again, the game has started to evolve and changed, and there are now rules in place that favor stolen bases and base running and putting the ball in play, and we need to evolve alongside it.
Yeah, and there was an era for basically the first 15, 20 years of this ownership. If they wanted a player, I always think of David Price, right? They misread the Lester situation. They're like, we need to get a lefty ace. And they blew everybody out of the water with the David Price contract. And obviously some years were pretty bad, but you won a World Series. You don't win in 2018 without David Price. And then there has been, now the Red Sox have been proud to be in second place, or we were close and he decided that he didn't want to be here, or we're not really that competitive for guys that clearly would fill a need. Do you feel like if you said, John Henry, we need X, can we do it? That you have that support, or does this change organizationally regarding your philosophy?
No, I feel like we have that support, and I think the job that I have is to try to do everything we can to win in 26 and also win in 27 and 28 and 29, right? And so I was here in 13, which is a great season, but in 2012 and 2014 we finished in last place. That's what we're trying to avoid while we're winning the 2013 World Series.
And so sometimes committing long term, you can interfere with that, is what you're saying.
It can. Sometimes that can be the building block. That can be the foundation for long-term sustainability, right? It's, it's getting harder and harder to find, the perfect player. 30 teams are trying to do the same thing. Every front office is really smart and looking for the same incremental advantage. We don't get points for being different. We get points for being right.
Craig, when you start to look at, because in baseball there's so much analytics, there's so much projection of what guys.
He's not an analytics guy. Not into that at all.
No, but there's a lot of that, in all sports nowadays.
Equations on the wall.
But I think one of the things that's kind of related to all sports more than anything is projection of certain guys, especially when they get, let's say, north of 30, 31, 32 years old. Do you start to look, especially at hitters, differently when they're in that range and maybe they want a little bit longer term of a deal? With the new model of the whole projection world of professional athletes?
You have to look at the projections. You also have to recognize that every projection system is imperfect, right? And the second that we have perfect projections, this job becomes very easy. So yeah, there are certain elements of of a hitter's profile or a pitcher's profile that we think might age better or worse than others. But that's constantly a bet that we have to make. But there are players that are incredibly effective and successful deep into their 30s and beyond. I mean, our closer at 38 years old is as good today, seemingly, as he was at any other point. And so our job is to try to both find the guys who are going to be effective deep into their careers, and also do everything we can from like a support standpoint in the training room, in the weight room, and with our coaches to continue to get the best out of each of them.
I think like Wiggy, Curtis brought up, Wiggy's a big Pete Alonso guy. Specifically on that, what we're kind of trying to get to is the fans will say, why is Pete Alonso not wearing a Red Sox uniform right now? What's the reason?
Sure, and I'm not going to get into the specifics. If you're going to give us one word, one word, why? Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get into the specifics of any individual free agent pursuit. Pete is a very good player who I'm sure is going to have a good season in Baltimore. But we've got 65 guys in camp right now that deserve our attention, and that's where our heads are.
So then who would you keep it to the Red Sox, and who would you look projection-wise as that guy to be, all right, we would like him to be our 30-plus home run guy? Who is that guy that you – or guys that you would like to see maybe have that ability that could be that for this Boston Red Sox team this year?
Sure. There are a few guys that I think are capable of going out and hitting 30 home runs. Now, what I would say is if we don't have someone who hits 30 home runs and we fall short of our goals, and the reason is because nobody hits 30 home runs, then I think the criticism would be fair to say, well, we didn't have enough power in the lineup.
Yeah.
We've got to find ways to win games. That's what I'm going to keep coming back to. But, to answer your question directly, Trevor Story hit 25 last year. I don't think in a season that he's been completely healthy and gotten 400 plus at bats, he ever hasn't hit 20. Yeah. Abreu hit 22 in 110 or 115 games as a 25-year-old guy. We think that there's another level for him.
He promised Wiggy 30 when he was on the show the other
day. There
you
go.
Yeah.
So
he's the guy.
I think Roman promised 30 this morning.
Yeah.
Okay. So. Yeah. How many did Tolley promise?
He wants outs. He said he wants outs. It's all about outs for him.
Yeah.
He was really quiet and shy. It was very odd.
I bet. He had lost his voice with the presentation yesterday.
Man, but as a pitcher, that's where you made your money. You must be fired up about this pitching staff.
It's an exciting one. I think it's got both quality and it's got depth, right? So we ran into some struggles last year toward the end of the season when Lucas got hurt, and Brian struggled a bit, and we saw that in the playoffs where after Garrett there wasn't quite the same pitching depth that we had needed to get through the series. And so now if we were to go into a postseason with Garrett followed by some combination of Ranger and Sonny and Brian, and what we saw from guys like Connolly and Peyton last year, we feel a lot better about not just kind of the quality and the top heavy nature, but also the depth. And like I said, I think if you were to ask Alex or the coaches or the position player group, like they're gonna show up at the park every day knowing that there's a chance for us to win the game.
Craig, you were a player, so you know both sides of this. The no trade clause has been a subject of conversation after the Bregman decision, where he signed with the Cubs as opposed to retaining his you guys retaining him with the Red Sox. Is there a policy on that? And why is that an important clause to keep out of contracts from the organization's perspective?
Sure. So again, avoiding like any conversation or details about any individual negotiation. What I would say is we try to approach every one of these situations uniquely. We try to balance what is best for the organization with what ultimately could get us the player. And I don't think it makes a ton of sense to blanket any situation with just like a single kind of principle here.
Do you ever feel the urge to comment when you see an Instagram post that is Bregman and Devers together?
What is Instagram?
Sounds like Belichick now.
I like it.
Okay, so that you're just social media is not. I mean, that's so yesterday.
I learned very early on it was best for me to remove myself
that
from
whole entire
any
thing.
social media presence.
You and me both.
Craig, how do you walk that line? Because we had Cora on maybe yesterday or the day before, and he said the one thing that he really had to learn was the relationship. Sometimes I get too close to players.
Not to fall in love with players.
Yeah, especially as a former player, you still, no matter what, you might be in front office, but underneath all that, you're still a former player, and you maybe want to lean a little towards how they think. How do you walk the line of not getting caught in the emotions of being a former player when you're talking to guys when it comes to contracts and things of that nature?
Yeah, it's very hard, but I think you have to separate the emotion, the human element, the relationship that you might have with a player, the empathy and compassion that you want to show them. And I think in my situation, the similar and shared experiences, right? I've kind of been on that side of things. You have to separate that from, I have to go to bed at night knowing that I did what I believe to be was best for the organization. And if you do that, then I think you can have relationships and you can get attached to players. Where you run into trouble is when one leaks into the other.
Right. This is a business, and you're competing against 3 other sports franchises in this city for attention. So when the Patriots make it to the Super Bowl, is that added pressure for the Boston Red Sox and for you?
Yeah. It could be, I suppose. There's pressure to perform in Boston because the fan base is incredibly passionate and has really high standards and expectations for its sports franchises. That's what makes this job so compelling and so exciting. Is we want a fan base that is frustrated and disappointed alongside us when we fall short.
Yeah.
So I think there is enough pressure in this job, and we owe it to our fans to compete for a World Series championship, irrespective of what happens to the Patriots or the Celtics or the Bruins.
All right. Well, we appreciate you taking the time, as always. What?
Yeah, this is the last one for me, Greg. I'm sorry. I just because I'm always fascinated as a former player, like the behind the scenes and how the construction of training camp or practice goes. How much? Because I remember when I played, a lot of what we became as a football team and was built in training camp for us. How much is built here in spring training of what your baseball team will ultimately become?
I think a lot of it, most of it even, because this is a unique 6-week period where players are getting to know one another. They're getting to know the coaching staff. It's maybe removed a bit from the pressure of competition every single day. And this is where teams start to form their identity, right? And we've talked about, pitching and defense and base running potentially being the identity of this team. But, that alongside the relationships they start to build now. And so this is a chance for guys, they go golf together and they fish together and they go out to dinner together. And, we spend so much time away from our families with each other, that this, I think, kind of becomes the foundation for what the team will go on to be over the next 6 months.
And Craig, sorry, one last one from me. The potential for a lockout at the end of this season is the worst-kept secret in Major League Baseball. How has that impacted your roster-building approach, and what are your thoughts on it in general?
Sure. I don't know that it has changed our approach to roster building dramatically. We came into 2026 thinking we needed to improve the roster. There were some obvious opportunities to do that, and we're focused on prioritizing 2026. We want to have the best season we possibly can for the organization and for our fans. There's a ton of uncertainty entering 2027. Sure. I think I know better than to comment on where I think that's going to land, but our focus is pretty firmly on doing everything we can to build a winner in 26.
Did any players negotiate, obviously not specific ones, has there been an attempt from the players' side negotiating guarantees or anything related to, in the event of a lockout, my contract would be X?
Well, what we've seen in looking at the way that contracts are structured is some different mechanisms to probably account for that, whether it's lower salaries or signing bonuses, that type of thing.
Yeah, interesting. All right, thanks for taking the time. Big event here tonight. Red Sox have a big event here tonight at the park to kick off the stadium, which I am lucky to be invited to. There is a Western theme. You seem like fun party guy, theme guy. What are you wearing?
I picked out my nicest khakis and quarter zip for tonight.
No boots, no
giant belt buckle,
10-gallon hat, maybe.
See how quickly we can get something delivered.
we got to get the Larry Lucchino, rest in peace, when he had that cowboy outfit. Remember that, Ken? Bizarre.
Oh yeah. All right. So you're gonna try, is what you're saying, in theme, or no? You're not gonna go in theme.
We'll see. We'll see. Do you have an extra pair of?
I do not have an extra.
I don't think they would fit you.
They probably wouldn't fit you. A little big. All right, that's Craig Breslow from Spring Training. We will be right back.